We live in an age of endless information. News travels fast, opinions travel faster, but clarity is rare. Every day, stories are told, but what they mean and why they matter is often lost. ClearPath Media was created to change that. We explain what's happening and what it means.
ClearPath Media is built for understanding. In a time when information is instant, but clarity is scarce, serious explanation has become rare. We exist to restore it.
If you're tired of headlines without depth
and conversations without substance,
then welcome to the right place.
This is not just a media channel. It is a platform for insight, a space for informed thinking, a clearer way to understand Africa. ClearPath Media. Africa Explained.
Good morning and welcome to Daily Briefs with Annabel, where we cut through the noise to what really matters. In Nigeria's political landscape, party strength is not defined by votes alone, but by unity, structure, and clarity of leadership. But at the moment, the Africa's Democratic Congress, that's ADC, is faltering on these three fronts. Now let's look at a party that is splintering. The internal crisis within the ADC escalated further recently with the emergence of a third faction aligned with Dumebi Kachukwu, the party's 2023 presidential candidate. At a press briefing here in Abuja, this group rejected the legitimacy of both the camp associated with David Mark and the faction linked to Nafiu Bala Gombe. Now, the implication is stark. The ADC now has at least 3 rival leadership blocks, each claiming control. Now, these fragmentation complicates everything from decision-making and candidate selection to national coordination. Now, to put all of these in perspective, during the 2023 presidential election, over 18 political parties contested nationwide. The ADC's candidates secured just over 80,000 votes, less than 1% of the total. The party failed to establish a dominant foothold in any state. Now, with the internal divisions, even that modest support base risk being further diluted. We look at leadership crisis and institutional breakdown because the newest faction has announced Kingsley Temitope as interim national chairman while dismissing the leadership claim of Nafiu Bala Gombe as lacking credibility and due process. They also accused former national chairman Raf Nwosu of attempting to hand over party structures to individuals they describe as outsiders. At the center of all of these turmoil lies a deeper issue, which is an institutional breakdown. The faction has supported the withdrawal of recognition from the Mark-led leadership, a move reportedly tied to a Court of Appeal ruling. Now, when internal leadership disputes become entangled in legal battles, political momentum often stalls. And in such moments, parties risk drifting without direction, cohesion, or even public confidence. Now let's look at political reactions and the strategic signals. Reacting to this development, spokesperson of the party, Bolaji Abdullahi, dismissed the new faction as opportunistic, insisting that the courts will ultimately determine the party's legitimate leadership. Meanwhile, the All Progressive Congress in Lagos suggested that the absence of both the ADC and the People's Democratic Party from the 2027 ballot would make little difference. Though politically charged, the statement reflects a broader perception that smaller opposition parties are becoming increasingly fragmented and less competitive. Now let's go straight to internal crisis, from internal crisis to public protest on what happened recently here in the city of Abuja. The tensions are no longer confined within political structures, because here in Abuja, supporters of the African Democratic Congress took to the streets under the banner "Save Our Democracy," with figures like Peter Obi, Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso. You also have Aregbeshala and the likes of others that were present at that protest. The message was clear: the no to one-party dominance, but yes to credible elections. And that's what all Nigerians are also saying. But protesters also raised the concerns about the role of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, insisting that the system must remain fair and independent. But what began as an internal party crisis is now spilling into the public space and widening into a broader conversation about the future of Nigeria's democracy. So let's look at the data behind the risk. Political trends both in Nigeria and globally reveal a consistent pattern. The political parties divided close to election circles often experience declining voter trust. Fragmentations create parallel structures, confusing voters and also weakening coordination. Smaller parties already face limited funding, so weaker grassroots networks and also reduced media visibility. In Nigeria, electoral success typically depends on 3 pillars: strong state-level structures, unified national leadership, clear and consistent messaging. But at present, the ADC is struggling across all 3. And the consequence is quite clear: credibility erosion. That's what it is. Because once voters begin to doubt a party's internal stability, they also begin to question its ability to govern the people. But what does all of this actually mean? The ADC is no longer facing a routine leadership disagreement. It is dealing with a multi-layered crisis: structural fragmentation across factions, and legal uncertainty from ongoing dispute, weak electoral history, declining public confidence, all unfolding at once. And with the 2027 elections approaching, time is no longer an advantage. It is now a constraint. But here is the broader implication. Democracy thrives not just on participation, but on credible competition. Opposition parties play a crucial and critical role. That's challenging ideas, scrutinizing power, and offering voters real alternatives. But when those parties are divided, that role definitely shrinks. The ADC crisis reflects a recurring issue in Nigerian politics. Internal power struggles often overshadow ideology, policy direction, and long-term vision. And when that happens, voters are left with fewer meaningful choices. From all of this now showing on your screen. And the All Progressive Congress dismissive tone may sound quite political. It also reflects a strategic reality. A fragmented opposition strengthens dominant parties. For the ADC, the path forward is not just about legal resolution. It is about rebuilding structure, trust, and even unity. Because the numbers already tell a difficult story. A party with less than 1% of national vote, now split into multiple factions, is not just facing a crisis, it is confronting the risk of political relevance or irrelevance. The 2027 elections may still be some distance away. That's what I think, but that's not what your politicians or the politicians are thinking. But in politics, rebuilding credibility takes time. And without unity, that process becomes significantly harder. My name is Annabel Oji, and this has been today's Daily Brief. Thank you for watching.
We live in an age of endless information. News travels fast, opinions travel faster, but clarity is rare. Every day, stories are told. But what they mean and why they matter is often lost. ClearPath Media was created to change that. We explain what's happening and what it means.
ClearPath Media is built for understanding. In a time when information is instant, but clarity is scarce, serious explanation has become rare. We exist to restore it.
If you're tired of headlines without depth,
And conversations without substance.
then welcome to the right place.
This is not just a media channel. It is a platform for insight, a space for informed thinking, a clearer way to understand Africa. ClearPath Media. Africa Explained.